You're watching the Michigan Football Report. I am your host, James Yoder. Out in Los Angeles, about 4 or 5 hours from now, I will be at the College Football Playoff National Championship game. We're going to publish this video on the channel right around that time, probably an hour before kickoff or so. News coming out this morning, if you watch the live show, Blake Corum returning to Michigan for 2023. Huge for Michigan. Puts them in the conversation, I believe, to be the preseason #1 team. And does it foreshadow Jim Harbaugh's future with this team? I'll ask you guys that question. Where will Jim Harbaugh coach in 2023? Give me an M for Michigan. Give me an N for the NFL down in the comments and description of today's, or down in the comments of today's video. Give a couple shout outs here on the live watch or live show here from College Football Playoff Media Headquarters. Gromit says, Michigan. Just give me an M or an N in the comments and the live chat. Where will Jim Harbaugh coach in 2023? All right, some other news. Made it official this morning. That's Luke Schoonmaker, although this is not necessarily news. Luke Schoonmaker accepted an invitation to the Senior Bowl a matter of weeks, 5, 6, 7 weeks ago or so, if I recall specifically. But so him and Ronnie Bell weren't necessarily surprised that this came out, that they were going to go to the NFL draft. If you play in the Senior Bowl, you can't come back. So if you accept that invite, unless you go back on the invite, then you are going to not be a part of your college football program next year. That means Colson Loveland, with Eric All transferring and Luke Schoonmaker, foregoing his final year of eligibility, he could have returned for a 6th season next year. He will be in the NFL. All right, let's go back, folks, a little over a month, right? 36 days ago, Jim Harbaugh said this quote on screen, and you'll read it along as I do. I think that people think that we've done a good job and are pleased with the job we've done here at Michigan. They're going to be very happy to learn that we will be back enthusiastically coaching the Wolverines in 2023. All right, let's take a look at the Jim Harbaugh circus, what we've been dealing with here over the last few weeks, right? Maybe a week and a half. Michigan upset by TCU, the early game, the College Football Playoff semifinals out in the Fiesta Bowl. Since then, it's been chaos, although some good chaos, say, with Blake Corum announcing he is coming back. Rumors in the Panthers job. Now we know that Jim Harbaugh and his agent were reaching out to the Panthers and their owner, David Tepper, through the month of December, not focusing on the Michigan football game against TCU, but I digress. Now, yesterday, news came out early Sunday morning. He'll be interviewing sometime this week with the Denver Broncos, reportedly via Zoom. So there you go. Jim Harbaugh's gone back on his word from Ward Manuel last year that this is a one-time flirtation. I'm yours as long as you have me. Well, Jim, now you're interviewing with the Broncos. You're trying to get the Panthers to hire you. Then some just conversation, chatter unconfirmed. Maybe he's blackballed by the 49ers, the Vikings. They put the word out how tough he is to work with, how odd his behavior was at his February 2022 interview with the Vikings on National Signing Day last year. So that's the Harbaugh circus that we know about. Now, what has transpired to? There is some credible information out there that that Donoan Edwards, JJ McCarthy, maybe others, Junior Colson, although I haven't heard about those guys specifically, certainly Edwards, certainly McCarthy, are being pursued by other schools right now. Hey, who's your coach next year? You guys can come. I made a joke today. I'm like, well, who's going to be the Georgia quarterback next year? I'm like, well, JJ McCarthy could be the Georgia quarterback next year, although I doubt it. I think these guys are committed to Michigan. Is Michigan's coach committed to them? I think it's a question that needs to be asked. So other schools coming at McCarthy, coming at Edwards with name, image, and likeness mega deals. Currently, still kind of an unsubstantiated rumor. I don't necessarily have a huge, great source in there, but it is out there enough. And the people that are kind of putting their word out there are the same ones last Wednesday, Thursday. They're saying, hey, look, Michigan's about to have some recruiting sanctions or potential recruiting violations come down the pipe. That came true, so take it for what it is worth here. We're going to be watching tonight, folks. Michigan's not going to be in the national championship game. They should be, but they lost to TCU, so shout out to TCU for that. You're watching from the couch, either at your house or a friend's house, or you'll be watching from the bar. Give me a C or a B in the comments or in the live chat. See some people in the live chat. Is Corum coming back? Yes, Blake Corum is coming back. We can change the live title of this video if you guys want Blake Corum returning. Okay, cool. We've got that on there. Where are you watching tonight? Couch or bar? I'm going to go option 3. I'm going to the game. You might see me on Twitter putting some cool footage out there, so make sure you are following. Give me a C or a B. I see Church Farts from the chat saying couch. Quentin, Johnny, couch as well. Joe Torres not watching. I don't blame you there. Sometimes I guess they're Joe. I don't think it's going to be teams aren't super exciting. That's why I'm rooting for TCU in this one. I think it's a better story than Georgia, a pretty boring Georgia team coming back and winning a back-to-back championship. Today's Michigan Football Report is sponsored by Fume. We all have bad habits, and we certainly know how hard it is to kick those bad habits. Our sponsor, Fume, is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. I didn't expect much out of Fume when I got it, but the minty sensation is really powerful and really hits the back of the throat, folks. The Journey Pack comes with 3 unique flavors for you to enjoy: maple pepper, crisp mint, and white cranberry. Fume is not a vape. It is a non-electronic device designed to transform your negative habits. The easiest way to stop a bad habit is to switch to a positive one, and Fume is designed perfectly to do just that. Head to tryfume.com/chatsports and use code CHATSPORTS, all cap or all one word there, to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com/chatsports. It's down in the comments and the description of today's video, and we'll toss it there in the YouTube live chat as well. Tryfum.com/chatsports. Get 10% off your order with the Journey Pack today. All right, let's take a look at the NFL head coaching jobs that are currently open right now. The Carolina Panthers being the one that's been open there for a while, along with the Indianapolis Colts and Denver Broncos. Those are the teams that fired their coaches during the season. There's already been rumors about Jim Harbaugh to each one of those jobs. Carolina, reached out to David Tepper through Jim Harbaugh's new agent, whose name is still unconfirmed. Indianapolis Colts. Will they make Jim Harbaugh part of their Ring of Honor? Led them to the 1995 AFC Championship game as their quarterback. We go back to one of his 2 NFL teams that he really called home, along with the Chicago Bears and the Denver Broncos. Jim Harbaugh will be interviewing with them in the next few days, if it hasn't already happened. We're not sure yet, via Zoom. Houston Texans and the Arizona Cardinals in the last, 15 hours, 12 hours, have both Texans late last night and then the Cardinals early this morning. There's 5 NFL head coaching openings right now. Jim Harbaugh could be a candidate for really any of them, but we'll see how things shake out with that, pursuit of Michigan's head football coach. All right, let's keep it rolling. Is Jim Harbaugh still bitter about his 2020 contract? If you guys recall, Jim Harbaugh was a coach of a 2-4 team in the 2020 season, the COVID year. Michigan's program kind of fell apart. You had a bunch of guys opt out, like Ambry Thomas and Nico Collins. Jalen Mayfield opted out, then he came back. And Michigan got off to a good start with Joe Milton against Minnesota in their first game, but then looked like one of the worst teams in college football the rest of the season. Only win was a 17-point second-half comeback against Rutgers. He took a 50% pay cut, and there's been rumors that have persisted that he's still kind of bitter towards Ward Manuel, towards Michigan's just general leadership, given the fact that he had to go ahead and take that pay cut. So that's still out there, but he is not a man who is short for cash these days. Take a look at these numbers on screen. Jim Harbaugh, one of the highest paid coaches in college football history right now. If you see there on screen, he brought in over $10 million last year in 2022. His base salary is $7,050,000, $7.05 million, over $2 million from bonuses in the postseason. So being your Big Ten Coach of the Year, win the Big Ten East, win the Big Ten Championship, going to the college football playoff. He missed out on like another $1 million had they won the national championship. And then this year also kicked in a long-term bonus that was on his original contract when he was hired on December 30th, 2014, $1 million 1-year annual long-term bonus that will be part of his contract going forward here coming out of the 2020 season. So Jim Harbaugh making $10 million a year. He's got a massive salary, and that's just kind of how it shakes out. So I don't know, we took the 1-year salary bet on myself in 2021, but he got all those bonuses after that. Then he's got a $7.5 million base salary when they restructured it after the Big Ten Championship season last year. But nevertheless, that is kind of how things are shaking out. Folks, we are going to talk about the candidates to replace Jim Harbaugh. I just want to make sure you guys know who my top 5 to 10 candidates are to replace Harbaugh if he takes one of these jobs. I know some of you guys don't like this part of the show. You'd say, stop talking about this. What do you want to do? It's the top news story around Michigan football outside of the return of Blake Corum. So stick with us. We're going to talk about those here in just a second. We want to make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. We've added over 20 people subscribe to the channel just in the last 30 minutes since we've been live. It's the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. Kind of getting towards 26,000. We're at 25,526. So take that link that you see right there at the bottom of the screen. I'll also put it in the live chat. It's down in the comments and the description of today's video. Send it to your friends in your Michigan football group chats, iMessages, etc. Tell them to get part of the biggest Michigan football show on any platform. Let's take a look at Jim Harbaugh's quotes from last Thursday that were put out, ironically, through Michigan's official social media accounts. And he left things vague. I'm aware of the rumors and speculation over the past few days. College and NFL teams have great interest in our programs, yada, yada, yada. He continues. As I stated in December 4th, we showed you that quote. While no one knows what the future holds, all right, giving himself an out, I expect that I will enthusiastically be coaching Michigan in 2023. I've spoke to Michigan's new president, Santa Ono, Ward Manuel, the AD, and appreciate their support of me and our program. And he continues and finishes. Our mission as Wolverines continues, and we are preparing for the 2023 season with great passion and enthusiasm. And as our legendary head coach, Bo Schembechler, said, those who stay will be champions. So that's Jim Harbaugh's statement from last Thursday through Michigan's official media channels. But then it rings hollow when all of a sudden you hear that he was the one that reached out to the Carolina Panthers, that his agent was talking to David Tepper, and they set up an actual, not an interview, but an informal chat leading up to the Michigan TCU game. Now we've got word that he's going to interview today or early this week with the Denver Broncos on their coaching vacancy. So I'm not sure why Harbaugh is so adamant publicly, but so shadowy privately with what his future holds. Publicly, he's saying he's coming back. Privately, he's doing the exact opposite of that. He's hearing out NFL teams contacting NFL owners. Here's my potential candidates, though. Top 5 guys from 5 down to 1. If they go internal, I think Mike Hart's got the second best chance, although I think it would be a bad hire for Michigan to make. He's not necessarily never been a coordinator at any level. Dave Aranda, head coach at Baylor. Matt Campbell, I know some of you guys don't like that candidate, but I don't think he forgot to coach just because some of his best players left after the 2021 season. Sharon Moore would be the top option if we're an internal candidate. And then my guy, have a good source that says his dream jobs are maybe the Dallas Cowboys and Michigan football if it was ever on a college level. That is Sean Payton, former New Orleans Saints head coach, a candidate for a lot of the same NFL jobs that Jim Harbaugh is being rumored for right now. Set out the 2022 season after retiring or leaving the Saints after last year. He won a Super Bowl in the 2009 season. All right, 5 other potential candidates. Bill O'Brien from Alabama. I don't know about this one. It's just one that's been out there. I've heard others speculate that he could be the coach. Had a decent run with the Texans. Right? They made the playoffs 3 times or so in his 5 or 6 seasons there. And he went into Penn State in 2012 in one of the worst situations you can imagine for a college football coach. Got them turned around in 2 seasons. So he's an option. He's got there. Chris Kleiman, head coach at Kansas State. They struggled against Alabama, of course, but winning the Big 12 this year, beating TCU, who's in the national championship game. And he runs a very similar philosophy offensively to Jim Harbaugh, toughness, run the football, and defensively as well. Hale Goodwin, right? He's on there because of his relationship with Tom Brady being the running game coordinator with the Bucs and the fact that he was a Michigan offensive lineman in the 90s. Just wanted to throw out there to keep on your radar. Mark Stoops, down year for Kentucky this year. Will Levis is supposed to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Didn't really see it out of him, but Stoops has had a hell of a run there at Kentucky in the SEC. He's had Kentucky being an 8-win program historically. And then Matt LaFleur. Now, I don't think this one's crazy, right? They lost last night to the Lions. Maybe Aaron Rodgers moves on. If that's the case, LaFleur grew up a Michigan fan, grew up in the state of Michigan, went to Northern Michigan, and you'd never know, right? Does he want to go through a rebuilding without Aaron Rodgers? Is Jordan Love the guy there? Wanted to keep an eye on. And then there's one other name that I had to go out there. Shane Beamer out of South Carolina. It's been rumored out there for the last 24 hours that he could be a potential name that could be looking around. He took South Carolina, really tough start, but then they beat Clemson. They beat Tennessee. They lost Notre Dame in their bowl game, but nevertheless, Shane Beamer is maybe the 11th name to keep an eye out there for Michigan's next head coaching top candidates if Jim Harbaugh were to take one of these NFL jobs that he seems to really pursue. Despite his public comments, privately, he is going after these different jobs. All right, who you got tonight? Give me a G or a T in the comments. It is Georgia, TCU. I am out here expecting Michigan to be in the game. Jim Harbaugh let me down, but I think Michigan will be back with a vengeance next year with or without Harbaugh, Blake Corum, Donoan Edwards, Colson Loveland, JJ McCarthy should be one of the most potent offenses in all of college football.